Coogs House. The Houston Cougars are in the game, but what's it like?
You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Cougs, daily podcast all about your Houston Cougars. I'm your host, Houston-born teacher and coach Parker Ainsworth. And whether you're a Houston fan or just a hater who came to stop by, thank you for making Locked On Cougs your first listen of the day. Appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day here at Locked On Cougs. If you enjoy the conversation but don't know what to say, tell us your favorite gaming system. Are you a PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, GameCube, Switch? Are you a Sega, Dreamcast, Genesis? Go all the way back to Atari and Pac-Man. Whatever you enjoyed playing games on growing up or presently, tell us in the comments down below. Locked On Cougs brought to you today by Game Time. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. But we got to talk about getting in the game in a different kind of way than Game Time offers you today, and that is EA Sports dropping College Football 25, and an exciting thing that lights up the summer and gets us ready for football. Now, as a kid, I was big into all of the NCAA games. NCAA 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 14 when it stopped abruptly for some legal reasons. The game is back. Players in the game are minimally paid to be in the game for the name, image, and likeness sake. And the game is back on new gaming systems, PlayStation 5 and I think it's X and S series of Xbox. I get lost in all of that. I am still mulling over if this is again, I got a couple jobs. I got a 1-year-old. I'm like, do I need to go get a new gaming system? And I decided to have a buddy who works for ESPN come on and talk to us about what the gameplay is like and what it's like playing as the Houston Cougars specifically. Let's bring on Brandon. All right, we are joined by ESPN's own and a gamer and a Houston alum, Brandon Caldwell. Brandon, I got to ask, what system are we talking here? PS5, Xbox, what are we looking at?
We are talking PS5. We are talking that one thing that was a must-have item in 2021. And to be fair, ironically enough, after I got hired at ESPN, my girlfriend, who is now my wife, she surprised me with PlayStation 5 as a congratulations, you got your dream gig.
Okay, so she surprised you with the PS5, and it's like right. Then the ring. I mean, it was girlfriend to wife. There was that like one after the other, right? Like that's
yeah. It went from you gift me a PlayStation 5. Then we have to move to Connecticut for this job, and then a year after we move to Connecticut, you get the ring, and we get married last year, and we'll make a year married next month.
Well, early congratulations. There's a lot of trials and tribulations that first year, but you made it. You're good.
Yeah.
I said broadly. I actually don't know. I hope it went well. Just broadly, there are lots of trials and tribulations in the first year or so. One of them can be. Is a segue. Dealing with someone who plays a lot of video games. In pre-show, you talked about yourself a little bit as a gamer. Before this game came out, because I'm assuming College Football 25 took up a lot of your time today. Before this game came out, what kinds of things do you like to play? Like, what's your vibe on PS5?
My vibe on the 5. I see what you did there. You're rhyming accidentally. It's pretty much whatever comes to interest. Like I may play Street Fighter 6. I just finished Far Cry 6 yesterday, mainly because the game was free on the PlayStation Store. And I'm like, oh no, I have to have this. Like I kept it away for 2 years because I know what I'm like when I have those long epic type games. Like I won't be done with it until it is beaten. So I may have some bloodshot eyes, heavy bags under my eyes, and my face just look flush. But yeah, no, it was a grind to try to get to a platinum trophy. Let's see, the last few games were Gotham Knights, Madden 24, NBA 2K 24, WWE 2K 24. It Takes Two, which is a very fun platformer that you kind of need a partner to make work. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
The Cowabunga Collection, Turtles in Time, like anything that kind of like bridges that gap between my childhood and like games I may be interested in now, and of course sports games, and platformers like Spider-Man 2 and things of that nature. Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely playing. Like I don't discriminate. Like as long as the game is good and it keeps me entertained.
So I think that's where college football 25 actually, it's a cool like number of different interests for a lot of folks. I don't want to say our age. I'm assuming we're both. I'm in my 30s. It sounds like you're
Same.
around your 30. Yeah.
Same.
It feels like for folks like us, the college football video games when we were younger was childhood, the same way Ninja Turtles was childhood or Spider-Man was childhood, whatever. And it's also a sports game that you can competitively play with your friends. And you can create a dynasty and just go for hours and hours and hours, and there's no real end in sight. And it kind of weirdly, because it took over 10 years off, hits both of those. When you first saw the ad come out, it's been what, 2 years now at this, whatever it's been, that they were going to have this game. First reaction was,
they better do it right. Like you can't announce something that at that point it had been 8 years since we got in a college football game, and I knew why we didn't have a college football game due to the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit. But the moment you say, "Don't worry, college football is coming back," I'm like, "Are you playing? Is this like a fake account? Did somebody buy verification?" And then I realized, no, this was a real account from the real EA College Twitter handle, and I was like, "Oh, this is happening." I'm like, "Please, just whenever they announce this, the solid date, just let me be alive. Just let me be alive so I can enjoy this." And like for weeks on end, I think the last couple weeks, I've been like talking with friends and coworkers, things like that. Like we've been discussing this like ad nauseum. Like every time there was a new gameplay video that dropped from EA. When you had Herb Street and Fowler discussing all the things in terms of what they did. They've been recording for like 3.5 years of commentary. And, you know, when the trailer dropped, I almost shed a tear because, you know, Welcome to the Jungle plays, you see turnover belts, you see, you know, the Oregon Duck on the back of a motorcycle, and you're just like, they really took tender loving care with this. And now that we finally have it, like there are not many things that unite America. College football 25 is united America.
It really has. It really has. At a time, at a week where, frankly, it feels very divided on most other things. We don't need to get into those other things.
You see my face. I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Everyone wants to stay employed. Everyone wants to stay employed.
Yep.
But college football 25 has united a lot of people. It's something everyone wants to be playing. And so you said you wanted them to do it right. That was your first thought. Mm-hmm. You've played it for a few hours at this point. Thank you for pausing play to talk. Do you feel like it was done right?
Control is literally still right here. It's literally still right here.
Literally hit pause. Yeah.
Yeah, literally hit pause. I feel they got there's some subtleties, you know, on first day release is going to be a little like some bugs there, but all in all, they got a lot of things right. And in particular with the University of Houston and TDECU Stadium, they got so much right. So much. Like there is the number 11 is displayed prominently on the field for, you know, honor Andre Ware. You got, you know, Black cadets doing push-ups after you score touchdowns. You have the techno sound like oh, before kickoff, right? You have the Cougar growl every time you get a first down. Like sounds and everything are there. Atmosphere is there. Like when you're playing Rice, you know, the stadium is like jumping when they first have the ball. I also learned that Kurt Warner's son, if you have it cranked up to All-American or Heisman, he's almost like his dad on the 99 Rams. It's a very terrifying prospect.
All right. In College football 2025, you're going to be building dynasties. And just like those dynasties, passion, drive, and patience are a winning formula for championships. And they also keep your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle to level up to peak performance, superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether in speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And the eBay Guaranteed Fit. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back because eBay Motors are burning rubber and not cash. So the parts you need and the prices you want is easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. If you ride or die live at ebaymotors.com, eligible items only, exclusive supply, eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers.
Almost like his dad on the 99 Rams. It's a very terrifying prospect. So I did record some footage today. My first time like just straight playing it. I bumped the difficulty up to All-American just to see how it would feel.
Right.
You don't want to play on rookie. You don't want to that's not giving people an honest, experience. And so literally I was like, oh no. Gameplay feels smooth. Running the ball feels amazing. Like getting it out of cuts is absurd. The passing mechanic will humble you at first, and for the most part, and I joked with you. I joked with you earlier in pre-show. It felt like a UA's game from last season. Like offense was humming, and then second half comes, and you're like, it gets a little rickety, and so. First game back. It's been 13. It's been a decade. I can honestly say, and this is on YouTube, so there is documented footage of this. I threw 4 second half interceptions, and the little lead I did have, it dwindled, and I lost by 10. You can watch that footage on YouTube. I'm not ashamed about it because the second time I played, I didn't record it for YouTube. I just got this to get my bearings about myself. Donovan Smith went off. He threw for 381, 5 touchdowns. Manjack IV had 3 himself, including one of my favorite plays so far in the game. And especially when you have the wide receiver just comes in on a scissors route, and next thing you know, he is gone. Let's say you somehow get the defenders caught blocking to each other, and once that wide receiver gets that release, bye-bye, touchdown. So second game went a lot better than the first. It went a lot better than the first. I absolutely cannot wait to get in deeper because I did this morning. I finally made my commitment speech and saying, hey, who are you playing for Dynasty and Road to Glory? And I was committed to University of Houston. And I flat out told myself, and I told I'm telling this to future recruits. If you want Lamborghinis and disappointment, going down I-10 West Austin. If you want to just be yelled at by kids who loved ROTC when they were in high school, go Aggie. Go do that. You want to build a program, you want to sustain a legacy in a town that doesn't much care about college football unless we're good, come to U of H. Come to Third Ward.
I love the Lamborghinis bit on that too. It was very, very current as far as how things go. All right, so other gameplay things. They had several Houston things, right? Was there a Houston thing that you were missing, or was it? Because I noticed, full disclosure, you did put up your first game, and props to you for putting up your first game that was a loss. Not everyone would do that. You put up your first game played online, like Brandon Caldwell on YouTube, building a little bit of a gaming following, and it does look like to me like you picked the black uniforms, and it looks like the crowd. I don't know if you can pick that it's a red out, or if it just looks very much like just intentionally crowded and packed and like bouncy. Was there something missing? Was there like, oh, I wish they had this or that, or
I subtly wish they had the Houston themed uniforms we had last year. That was a nod to the city, but that's a whole issue with the NFL here or there. So whatever. Aside from that, no, and that's the crazy thing about it, because I think they've had like 3 years to work on this. So they've gotten so many details. Like I'm pretty sure they've gone through and watched or been on site for like dozens of Houston games. Like
Right.
you can hear Reese Davis' enthusiasm when he said like, "Hey, this is the house that Jack Pardee and Andre Ware built." Right at the opener for the game at the stadium. You also know the subtle differences in announcing, because you have Reese, Jesse Palmer, and David Pollack for like your normal games, and then for big games you get Fowler and Herbstreit. Score bugs come through. It pops. Everything about it really pops, and I don't think they really missed anything so far in my initial gameplay. Now, if I go in 7 hours later and I wake up and I look like Charlie from It's Almost Sunny in Always Sunny in Philadelphia with a giant dry erase board, I can point out little things, and we may have another conversation. But for now, so far they nailed everything. Donovan Smith is a very you basically use him as a great dual threat. Let's see. Joseph Manjack IV is a terrifying person in space once you get him in space and get him going. The running game for U of H on this game, it is so dastardly. I say dastardly in a good way, because if you get Parker Jenkins in space, it's issues. 100%, it's issues for everybody. He literally, when I felt like the first game, and it's in the clip, I thought it was slipping away. He gets the ball kicked to him, races it straight up to the house for a 96-yard kickoff return touchdown. And the stadium was down. It was like, surrender Cobra, because like, oh my God, they took the lead. And next, Parker gets that ball, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a house call real fast, guys. Just let me be.
Well, and I feel like he does that. So that's interesting, because I've talked about it on Locked on Cougs, and listeners have heard like the transition to the new coaching staff is going to be like a lot of defense and a lot of running the ball, and that's effective, but it might not be as sexy as things in the past or whatever. It's certainly not the Case Keenum 50 touchdown season and through the air kind of thing.
This is not your grandfather's Coogs. I forget, because now you're of the generation we said as your grandfather. This is not Andre Ware and David Klinkler just run and shoot. This is not that, right? This isn't even Kevin Cobb or Case Keenum, or even Greg Ward. It's not even that. When Herman was at the helm. This I think with Willie Fritz, this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a lot of mix, because the way that playbook is set in the game, it is nuts. Like there's a lot of different options, a lot of different pistol sets, a lot of different shotgun sets. I'm like, oh, like we're gonna spread you out. Like we're gonna utilize our guys to our strengths.
And so it played out that way in the game. I always enjoyed in the older, back when it was called NCAA, and then whatever years, like NCAA 13, 14, insert whatever year. I liked running the option and running the ball, and those, because you couldn't run the option in Madden once upon a time. That was the only place you could do it. And I felt like if I got good enough at it, you couldn't do anything to stop. If I'm playing my buddy, you can't do anything to stop me. All right, I'm going to make it wrong. Did you enjoy the like running the ball and that kind of stuff? I mean, you mentioned airing it out to Manjack a couple times. Like, is it a nice balance there, or would you rather have the wide open passing, throw 1,000 yards a game kind of stuff?
No, I love the variety, because for a decade now you didn't have the ability to like, let me call like a jet sweep, but like I'm coming. Let's say my wide receivers coming from the slot position, come over and you can immediately just hike it to them, right? Or the they call it a jet pass now, right? Like quarterback gets the ball and immediately like shovels it right to the wide receiver, and he just kind of cuts in the field. And you didn't have that. It offers so much of a wide open type of gameplay. That is terrifying. Like if you are not shadowing the wide receiver and making sure that, hey, when he crosses the line, it's like, wait a second, he's in motion. Like, are you going to sit? Or are you going to move and do something with the ball, right? Like it makes you really have to pay attention on defense, because trust me, and you will see it. if you are out of position, you're going to get burned. And I think that's what I love a lot about the run game itself, because yes, you can have a great amount of stick work, but the way they literally set these plays up, like if you are out of position, like, oh, let me call a zone instead of like calling a blitz to kind of like contain. Sorry, you're giving up a touchdown. You're cursing at your television. You're trying to throw a controller, but then you realize I can't throw the controller. It's $70. I can't just replace these things.
Can't just throw that around.
Yeah. Again, as I used to, like, I remember so well, like in NCAA 06 is probably my favorite NCAA of all until this one, maybe. Mesh was my favorite route to run. Favorite. Just get a lot of short yardage. If I wanted to, I can like, hey, check down, throw it to the running back. All my wide receivers, literally, I remember dynasties where I had like all three receivers had at least 1,500 yards receiving. Like the tight end had 700, 800. The running back was like Roger Craig, like, yeah, let me catch for 1,000 and run for 1,700. But he wouldn't win the Heisman because my quarterback would throw for 60 touchdowns. So I look forward to like diving deeper into like Dynasty and Road to Glory and seeing the little like idiosyncrasies there, and hopefully bring home a virtual national championship back to Third Ward.
So
several, actually.
Several. So in that vein, let's say you start in the Dynasty, play in the game, and you win the national championship. Who you're also going to have a Heisman winner along the way there. Who's the Heisman winner? Is it Smith or Jenkins?
I think it's going to be Smith. And the reason why it's going to be Smith is it's now basically a quarterback-driven award anyway. And if you have a dual threat QB like we saw in real life with Jaden Daniels last year, I think some of the soft spots in UH's schedule will allow for him to have big games. And you're playing in a revamped Big 12 with no Texas, no Oklahoma. Like, you're gonna have spotlight games. You're gonna have a lot of opportunity to shine. And I think that when all else fails, you lean on the guy who got you there, and you always lean on your quarterback.
So in this Dynasty mode, for Donovan Smith to win, that means it's going to happen year one.
Yep. You get one shot, one opportunity. Better capture it. Do not let it slip.
You're playing with Houston, and it's interesting because back in the older versions of Houston games, building a dynasty with Houston would have been kind of the thing a lot of people would have done. It's a school in a great recruiting market, and it was in a smaller conference, and you can build it up and go from nothing to something really fast, right? You had some bare bones there to build with. I would almost argue that being a Big 12 school now, like the gamer, now obviously as a Houston alum, it's a little different, right? But the gamer would be like, no, that's a Big 12 school. Go get someone from the WAC, right? Like, go get. Is there another school if you were to pick someone because you picked Houston? Obviously it's close to the heart. Is there another school you would look at going with once you've built the dynasty with Houston to change it up, or are you going to stick with Houston the whole time?
No, I'm not going to stick to Houston the whole time, mainly because the way they broke Dynasty down this go round is you can either start as a head coach or you can start as an offensive or defensive coordinator. And if I really want to do a full blown rebuild, I'd probably go with like Sam Houston State, probably one of those WAC schools, as you said, maybe like that. But I think I want to stick to schools that are in that perpetual 6-6, 7-5 realm. Like, if they break through, like, oh my goodness, they've done something they haven't done since in 60 years. Like, that's the type of school I want to find, right? The real diamonds in the rough, because there's no greater satisfaction than taking a team that was in the most potent regions of college football and take them to the promised land. It's a little bit more treacherous now since they have a 12-team playoff. And
yeah.
So I look forward to that challenge. But right now, it's, I like getting my feet wet and kind of understand the mechanics of the game with UH. And then from there, we'll see what Coach Caldwell decides to do from there. If he wants to stay in Third Ward, if he wants to stay in the Big 12, if he wants to say, no, we're going to schedule a big time Texas school every single year that's not in conference. Hey, Texas, we're playing you. We're playing you every year. Aggie, we're playing you too. We're going to make sure our out of conference schedule is the best in college football, so they cannot leave us out if we happen to go all the way.
It's a fun game. It's a fun. It was a fun like nostalgic piece of the last like it hit in the summer too. It's hitting like a summer month of content where like we're all just kind of waiting for football to come back anyway. First of all, mention PS5. What's your PSN so people can find you?
It is Brando C713.
Brando C713. There you go. X, it's _ Brando C as well.
Yep.
Brandon, you're writing, you're editing, you're involved with ESPN, and you're also finding time to play this game on the side. What kind of things you got coming out these days as far as the more worky kind of things going?
Oh, man. I think because I've kind of gotten to a very much so a great spot with ESPN and doing things in terms of combat sports. It may be revolving around SummerSlam in a couple weeks. They're slowly building that card out, and I'm pretty sure they'll have me write something here or there about SummerSlam. From there, it's pretty much open game. If anything wild and crazy happens, I'm pretty sure that somebody may ask me like, "Hey, so what are your thoughts on?" And I'm like, I can make it happen. But I love my work at ESPN. I love what has been afforded to me in this position. Even talking to you is an absolute blast, and I most certainly appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and again, that's at _ Brando C on X, and it was Brando C713 on PlayStation. A lot of NCAA football or college football 20. I'm gonna get that wrong every time. College football 25.
We know what it is. The real know what it is. It's okay.
Thanks for coming on today, Brandon.
Not a problem, sir. Anytime.
All right, shout out and thank you to Brandon for hitting pause on the game for a few minutes to talk to us about what it's like to play as the Houston Cougars, what the Houston Cougars bring to college football 2025. Now, while that's a fun and like nice distraction from real world, there are all kinds of other Houston Cougar topics and things going on as well in the world this week. So make sure we're paying attention to those as well here each and every day at Locked On Cougs. We've got a number of different people joining the conference. We've got a bunch of other stuff happening across college sports. Summer League has a lot of Houston Cougar alums playing in it. Speaking of alums, Cougs Forever, the basketball tournament starts up very, very soon. We got a whole football season to preview as well. Lots of things coming up in the coming days. So hit subscribe, hit the bell on YouTube so you know we're live and get the latest on the Houston Cougars each and every day. Now, if you just cannot get enough, you want more, I'm going to tell you to Locked On Big 12 and get in on the latest things in the Big 12 conference from Drake Toll over there. Does a great job. Fun show to go check in on. Locked On Cougs is a proud member of the Locked On Podcast Network. It means your team, our Houston Cougars, virtually and in real life, each and every day. Go Cougs.